Welcome back. In this episode, we chase down the UV energy hatch, our gateway to the next power tier. That means new machines, top-tier Tritanium Coils, and one monster of a build, the network switch. It's the brain behind advanced research, and it's vital for what's coming next. This is Star Technology. Let's get into it. So I've been looking ahead at what we're going to need to do next. Things like the robot arms, the conveyors, all that sort of stuff, we're going to need to do that for UV. That's going to require 32 units of computation to do the research. Then when we actually want to build the energy hatch, we're going to need 64 units of computation to produce the data module for that. That's actually a new thing as well, isn't it? Data module. I'll have to look into that. And finally, if we want to build the fusion reactor computer Mark III, which is required to make the neutronium that we're going to need going forward, that requires 96 computation units. So we are going to have to upgrade our research station. So what that's going to entail is building more of these, but also building something called a network switch that allows us to join multiples of these to this. Because as we know from one of the previous episodes, this optical pipe can only be point to point. It can't branch at all. What we need to do is basically build something called a network switch, which has multiple inputs and then one output. So essentially you build a few of these, you hook them all into the network switch, and then there's one pipe that comes out that connects it to this. So I'll do all of that down here because I've left a nice space. If I replicate this is 16 currently. I can do this another 3 times, and that will take us up to 64. But that won't cover us for all of the compute we need because there's 96 I saw there. But maybe we can upgrade these. Yes, because there's other components, isn't there? There's advanced HPCA components. Yeah, so this requires 2 cooling, produces 4 computation. These require 4 cooling, produce 16 computation. So I could double the amount of compute in here. So I could get away with only having 2 of these to get up to 64. Okay, that's doable. Maybe I should do that. That'd be a quicker upgrade. That way I'd only have to build 2 of these. Still have to build the network switch. Okay, so I've been looking into what's going to be required to make this network switch, and I think the decision has been made for us as to what we do with regard to this machine here. Because to make the network switch, we need to do research of a normal optical pipe requiring 32 computation units. We need to make 2 of these HPCA advanced computation components. So what we'll do is we'll pull out those 4, put 2 in to replace it. That'll take us up to 32, and there will be 4 cooling for each, which is fine. And then the rest will be filled in with these empty ones. Okay, so we have everything except for the ZPM field generator. Hoping that's not too hard. That's pretty easy. Just need to research an LUV one, and the recipe for it is like that. Don't have that fine wire. Get rid of that data orb. I think that looks okay. Let's do that. Might just check that number. Yeah, it's 2. I know how this game works. And while we're at it, is that number right? No, it's 4. Cool. All right, can't be fooled. Do need to get one of those LUV field emitters first. Let's make one of those. Okay, let's do the research. Put that in there. Where's the HPCA go? Needs to go into the clean room assembler. I think it's this one here. Everything except the ZPM generator, I hope. Yep, okay. Let's just put this in here, and then we should be able to craft 2 of those things. Can go right next to the other field generator. That means I need to put the data orb in here, which means taking something out. I guess the data bank for now. Let's request 2 of those. Happy days. All right. Pull those out. That one, and that one. Put them in there. There we go. Just verifying. 32. Cooling demand is 8 and cooling available 8. All right. So that's good. That means I should be able to put the data orb in there and optical pipe. Cool. Let that research. And then I'll come down here and do this thing. I won't bore you guys with that. I'll just do the encoding of all these different bits and pieces and come back. Well, I've gone away and encoded all those patterns and all the things that are required. So all the Tritanium bits and pieces and Naquita fluid pipes. They're all sitting there ready to go. And I've made one of each of the actual arms and pumps and things so we can scan them with the data orb. So put the electric motor in there and drop one of those in. I'll just sit here and just babysit this. I'll do that and come back. So I've run all of those components through the research station, and now I have the processing patterns as well as the data orbs for each of those UV components. So we should get them installed.
So something that I've just done in the background while I was waiting for those to go through.
So I've upgraded these data access hatches to the advanced data access hatch, which has 4x4, so it's 16 slots instead of just 9. I've done that to both of them. The advanced data access hatch required a data bank to be scanned in the research station. Very minimal compute, so that wasn't a problem at all. And then making it required these ZPM circuits and some data orbs. So yeah, we could have done this probably a few episodes ago, but I missed that. So there's actually a multi-block that lets you sort of distribute data via cables rather than having them in the hatch. And I've managed to forestall having to build them for now. So let's get these installed. So I'll put the robot arm in here, piston and the conveyor module, and also the pump. And I'll leave out the electric motor. So the electric motor can go into this one. And then I'll put in the data things. So we've got the piston, electric motor stays out, the pump, robot arm, and the conveyor module. And over here, we should be able to put the electric motor. So let's give this a try. Let's try making a UV electric motor. Now we're starting to use the Tritanium. So we're going to need a better source of that. Okay. Aha, there we go. That worked. Oh. Okay, don't know what that was, but yeah, anyway.
So something I just want to quickly mention.
I ran into a small issue where I was running out of radon. I have a distillation tower over here that produces 1 bucket of radon every 45 seconds because it's quite a slow process. I have upgraded the bejesus out of it, so now it takes 6 seconds. As a consequence, I had to upgrade the thing that produces the liquid and air, so this is like smashing along. So that together improved the speed of radon, but I was still using it much faster. So what I've done is there's actually a chemical reaction you can do to create radon gas. Yeah, there's a few different ways to make it. There's a fusion reactor recipe, which is just gold and mercury, and it produces 125 millibuckets of radon gas, but that's actually kind of slow. It's not much faster than that distillation tower now that it's upgraded. And obviously, using an entire fusion reactor to make radon gas seems like a bit of a waste. But there is this recipe in the large chemical reactor with 8 plutonium ingots, a piece of uranium dust, and 10 buckets of air. We get the plutonium back as dust, so we can just smelt that, and it produces a bucket of radon gas. All we're consuming is one single piece of uranium. A little bit of work behind the scenes to resmelt that. Because it's a large chemical reactor, it gets a perfect overclock. So if we overclock this to say ZPM, we're now talking 0.75 seconds. Anyway, it produced a lot of radon very quickly. If you want lots of radon, do this. The only thing you've got to do is make sure you've got a source of uranium-238. And the way to do that is with this setup here. We covered that in an earlier episode. All I've done is just upgrade it with the Elite Level 3 machines. And that's made it much faster. Because it turns out radon's used for a lot of stuff. It's used in the nether stars. It's also used when making cubic wafers. And it's also one of the ingredients in the fusion reactor for liquid nequadria and geranium. And geranium is a precursor that we use to make tritanium. So pretty important.
It seems like I've overlooked something. I have the data orb for the network switch. That didn't take too long to make. That's great. So we should be able to build the network switch, right? It's built using a ZPM assembly line with a computer casing, ZPM emitter, ZPM sensor, UV circuits, enriched naquadah trinium europium duranide wire, some tritanium foil, and normal optical pipe. Now everything there seems pretty straightforward, right? Wrong. This one here, enriched naquadah trinium europium duranide wire. I got that confused with something else, and I didn't notice that this actually requires a tritanium coil in the alloy bly smelter. We're going to have to go on a little side quest to make tritanium coils in order to actually be able to do this, because we've got everything that makes it up. We just don't have the tritanium coils. Tritanium coils need to be made in a UV assembler from tritanium wire, nequadria foil, and liquid trinium. We have all three of those, but we don't have a UV assembler. We have encoded all those UV parts. So I went ahead and encoded the UV assembler and made some. The ultimate assembler looks like this. Pretty simple, but it's got UV robot arms, UV conveyor belts, the UV machine hull, UV circuits, and the yttrium barium cuprate cable. So not too difficult. And so I made some of those. I built 4 so we could get through the tritanium coils quickly, because I noticed tritanium coils take 45 seconds. So we're going to need quite a few. So let's go figure that out. because of my terrible lack of foresight here and building all these connected, we're going to have to upgrade some more of these. Otherwise it breaks everything. So we're going to need lots of tritanium coil blocks, but that's going to use up lots of tritanium. I'm not happy with that. So I wonder if we should actually do something a little bit different. Let's have a think about this. Actually, let's set up these UV assemblers, and then they can start making the coils, and then we can proceed with the next bit of the annoyance. So I guess we have to figure out a place to put them. Up here, I guess, is okay. Actually, yeah, I'll put them here. So we place one down like that, pattern provider on top, another assembler, one on the side, one on there. Need to hook up some power. Okay, they're all charging. Excellent. This is a bit messy. Actually, this is very messy. Not really happy with this, but we'll just roll with it. And we need that tritanium coil recipe, which I don't think I even encoded. So let's do that. That one. Yep. Now we'll come over here and pop this guy in here. And then just configure these to be able to output into that provider. We should be able to request one of those coils. Let's quiet these guys down. Let's request a whole bunch more. So I don't know how many we're going to need. Let's go 41. That's going to use a lot of my tritanium. Now, the thing that I want to figure out, if I try and upgrade these, obviously there's going to be a problem. So we need to go with the one that's on program circuit 14, which is this one. So it's going to break the 13 and 15 unless we upgrade them all. And that's a lot of blocks. That's a lot of tritanium. I'm not sure about doing that. That's 57 across there and 57 across there. So that's like 114. It's a lot of tritanium. I wonder if we could do something a bit different. Hot enriched trinium europium duranide ingot. So that's made in an electric blast furnace from this dust. It does take a tritanium coil. It requires a UV mixer to mix it, which is not a big deal. We could encode that recipe and make that. It is slower to do it through the electric blast furnace. So this produces one ingot in 33.5 seconds. This one produces 10 of them in 251 seconds. So it's 25 seconds each. So it's quicker to do it in a alloy blast smelter, but we already knew that. However, there is something I wanted to have a look at. It looks like this. It's called a rotary hearth furnace, made with Naquita springs, ZPM circuits, an electric blast furnace, ZPM field generators, some dense Naquita alloy plates, some of that. Ooh, ruthenium, trinium, okay, this might actually be a bigger problem in a mixer. Yeah, yeah. That's a little bit annoying. I thought I could do a really cool thing. Let's talk about this anyway. This monster multi-block here is called a rotary hearth furnace. It's basically like a super electric blast furnace. It's a huge multi-block. It requires like almost 600 blocks or something like that. There's like 88 of these, 382 of these. It's not too hard though. Like all the different components are not that complicated. This is probably the worst one, the Naquita alloy frames, 132 of them. But Naquita alloy is not that hard. Point is, we can't build it. We can't build it because neutronium is made in a Mark III fusion reactor, which we can't build yet because the fusion reactor Mark III requires 96 units of compute in a UV research station. So we don't have the capability of upgrading the research station to be UV, and also we don't have 96 compute. We're in a situation where we can't do any of this cool stuff yet. We're going to have to do it the boring way, which means either using an electric blast furnace or using one of these. So something I haven't talked about. Over here, I planned to build 2 of the rotary hearth furnaces. This is how big they are. This is the footprint of them. They're huge. So they'll be coming soon in a couple of episodes' time or something like that. But what I did do is build a lot of these electric blast furnaces because I was sick of my main electric blast furnace just being bottlenecked all the time. It was sitting there constantly working because of things that we just run out of that we could be passiving. Here I'm passiving a lot of stuff that's slow to make, but we don't use very often. This is trinium ingots. That takes a while to cook. This one is uranium, rhodium, dinaquitide ingots. This one is ruridite. Not all of them have been set up yet. I've got 3 spare ones for future expansion, and I've got like a dedicated vacuum freezer because the other one wasn't being able to handle the extra load. And so as a consequence over here, the area that used to have the electric blast furnaces has been changed. I actually need to remove this, but there was another one here if you remember. But I needed this to be the access to the next level. This is going to go. I'm going to rearrange this. 41 tritanium coil blocks have now completed. That's excellent. Okay, so, well, I can probably use one of these guys over here after all that unnecessary waffling on. I could probably upgrade this one and set it up with a UV mixer on top, and it will make the stuff. So that's what I've actually done here. So a lot of these that require mixing, this one here is the uranium rhodium dinaquidide ingots. This recipe here was slowing down the mixers and clogging them up. So I put a dedicated mixer on each of these. So what we'll do is we'll do the same thing here, but with a UV mixer, and we'll upgrade this to tritanium, and then that will produce the stuff that we need. Let's encode this UV mixer. Darmstadtium rotor, that's the only thing we don't have. And pop that ultimate mixer there. Crest one of those. A lot of parts to go into that. Wow. Okay. Let's grab those tritanium coils. Ah, quest complete. I didn't even realize that was a thing. Of course it is. Where would that be? Yeah. Cool. So we'll upgrade this one. Do that. Cool. Got the ultimate mixer. Let's put that down like that. So we need argon gas, interface, argon gas in there. Another interface on the back of this. Put a robot arm on there. An item filter with keep exact. Program circuit 4. We'll drag each of those in. Rich naquita. Trinium. Europium. And uranium. Probably going to have to set up processes to make the dust versions of these. In the robot arm, we need to do 4 of those, 3 of those, 1 of those. Oops, did I miss that one? Yep. So I might just increase these a little bit. I'll make them 10 each. Tell it to import. Why is that not coming? Ah, okay. I need to allow it to put. It's filling up power. Just tell it to export downwards. Only 2 of them coming through, as I suspected. Need to set up those last 2 dusts. So I'll have to tell it that it can craft it. Because it's got europium and uranium. So I'm probably just put them into a macerator, I guess. Let's make this a bit more. Let's do that. I'll go 32 for that as well. Macerator. There we go. Put those 2 in there. They should just start happening already. And so this is probably going to fire up pretty soon. So the europium dust is coming through. And then the uranium, hopefully not too long after. The other missing part is we need to cool it. So let's put it into here. Oh, there we go. That's crafting away. And hopefully that went into there. It did. And so the last step is I think this needs to be program circuit 2. There we go. And now I just need to make sure I limit it so that it doesn't use up all of our stocks of everything. How much should we say? Let's just go, let's go low. Let's go 512. Don't want too much. And then this should be picking them up, hopefully. Yeah, looked like it was. That's nice and quick. And there we go. 16 enriched naquita trinium europium duranide ingots. Amazing. All right. So now I can encode this recipe, place that data orb in there, and we can make ourselves a network switch. Well, I'll get ready for that and then come back. So I'm under the floor here because my vision for this area was that I've got the reset station here, got these HPCAs. I was going to build a second one in that location there and then mirror it on the other side as well. So we'd have a total of 4, each one capable of 32 compute. So that should take it up to 128, which I believe will cover us for all the stuff that we need. And then they'll all route to the network switch, which I was thinking of putting right here because that's sort of like a walkway through there. And coming up the stairs there, you probably need to do it. So even though Here would seem to be the best location. It's going to be in the way, so I'll put it here. It may end up moving it in the future, but that's what I'll do. Got the network switch, got some computer casings. There's some advanced computer casings involved. Also, I've got some of these things called HPCA bridge components because I noticed on the tooltip for it, it says allows the HPCA to connect to network switches. So I'm pretty sure we're going to need that. So I've got a couple of those. Got some data transmission hatches, data reception hatches, and an auto maintenance hatch. So let's just get to it. It's relatively simple. I'll just build it with the computer casings and then we'll just shave off the bits we don't need. So like that. Advanced computer casing in the middle. Network switch there. Some more computer casings. Just do that. And then the auto maintenance hatch. So let's do power, I guess, down here at the bottom. So we'll go ZPM energy hatch. So now we need the data reception and data transmission hatches. So it's going to be 2 from that side, 2 from that side. So let's just put 2 on this side and maybe 1 coming up from the middle, the output. So we want 2 reception hatches and a transmission hatch. Excellent. That's it. Let's give it some power. That's the output, so we'll plug that into there instead of that. And now we just need to divert this cable into there. I wonder if I should have them on top, actually. Let's do that. Just rotate those into place on top. Just run the cables up like this. We might have to research something just to verify that this works. There we go. So that should be providing the compute. Can we tell in here if this is getting... No, we can't, can we? Because I haven't put in this bridge component yet. So the bridge component is one of the things that goes into this section here. So let's take that one out in the middle and pop that in. Okay, that's cool. And it says bridging enabled. Anything different on these UIs? It didn't say that before, did it? Okay, so that means it must be working. Let's try scanning an optical pipe, because that's something that we had to do just recently. There we go. It is working. Cool. Well, we don't actually need that, but that has confirmed that this is actually working now. All right, well, I'll just build another one of these. Built that other HPCA, configured it exactly the same way as this other one over here. So it's got the bridge component, it's got the 4 active cooling components, the 2 advanced computation components, which brings us up to 32. It's got all the cooling it needs. Hopefully our amount of PCB coolant that we're producing is enough to keep this going, like with 2 of them at the same time. But I've wired it up. It's a little bit ugly with the pipes under the floor there, but you know, that's just how it is. It's coming in here and it is giving us 64 units of computation. So that means the next thing I want to do is research this UV energy hatch. Everything looks good, 64 units of compute, but the only problem we have is we need a ZPM energy hatch, so I'll build one of those, but we also need this thing called a data module. So wetware printed circuit board, some ZPM circuits, RAM chips, NOR chips, NAND chips, fine yttrium barium cuprate wire, and some liquid soldering alloy in a sterile clean room. A little bit of a surprise. I didn't expect it to require a sterile clean room, but doesn't matter, we've got one. So I just need to encode that and order one of those. That looks good. We've got everything there. Brilliant. Might have to remove that liquid soldering alloy. I can't remember if it's plumbed already into that machine. But here we go. Here's our circuit assembler. And I believe it is already, yep, okay. Not a big drama. You can take that and just remove that. And this is actually completely empty. Turns out that being a sterile clean room means it's not a clean room. So this is the only recipe in here at the moment, which is such a waste for such a big machine. But there we go. Let's request one of those. Shouldn't take too long. Famous last words. Why is that not working? The numbers are wrong. Why does it always it gets me every single time? I just need a ZPM circuit. I've been busy making a lot of circuits in the background, so that should kick off. Yeah, all right. Let me just adjust this. Put that in there. Let's just make sure we did that right, because I've got a feeling I misclicked. Yeah, that's cool. All right, let's grab one of those. All right, this is the moment of truth. We should be able to research. Where am I going? We should be able to research the data module, UV energy hatch. So put that in there and do this. Oh, there we go. Look at that. That's actually researching pretty quick, I would say. So what do we need to make a UV energy hatch? So we've got that. We've got that. Do we have an ultra high power? Yes, we do. Of course we do. What am I talking about? Okay, so it's just this ultimate voltage coil. How long is that going to take? Oh, it's done. Okay, cool. Let's get this ultimate voltage coil. Now, I did actually encode this recipe. It's been hiding in here for a long time. So the ultimate voltage coil looks like this. It's in an assembler, UV assembler. Yep, okay, magnetic samarium rod, fine tritanium wire, program circuit 1. Okay, we did build some UV assemblers over here. What the heck? Okay. It's like a game of table tennis or something. Anyway, pop this into here, and then I need to put these onto program circuit 1 just temporarily. Okay, let's try making one of those. Oh, let's make 4. There we go. Excellent, it's making them. So I can put this into the assemblers, which should already be UV. Well, this one should be because it's got 2 of the hatches in it, which means it is UV, yes. Oh, just enough room for that. Wait a second, that doesn't go in there. Okay. I think that I need to build another machine. Oh, that's a little bit... Oh, come on. I gotta build one of those things. I didn't plan for that. All right, I think annoyingly that might have to come next episode. Oh, I've run out of time. I don't have time to figure out another build. What is it called? It's called a data bank. One of these things. No, hang on a sec. Well, don't these just have the same hatches? Let me just go and figure that out. All right, well, it looks like I'm going to have to do this data bank thing. So this is what it looks like. It's a relatively small multi-block, really, I guess. It's got these high-powered casings around the outside, which are pretty easy to make. It's like IV tier stuff. So we've got to do a little bit of renovation here. We've got to take these advanced data access hatches out, replace them with optical data reception hatches, and then build this other thing. But let's do this. So we'll start with high-power casings there, the data bank itself. I guess I'll just surround it like this. Put in some heat vents on the sides. Bottom is all computer casings, and so is the rest actually. An auto maintenance hatch. We're also going to want power. ZPM energy hatch. I'll take that down. Okay. I need 2 spots for the data access hatches. Let's take this out of here and pop it right to here. And do the same with the other one. And then we need a data transmission hatch here. Am I going to need a network switch here as well? I probably am, aren't I? Okay, well at least that finished the multi-block. So over here we need the data reception hatches. And they are happy. Can I put 2 of these data transmission hatches in? That's the question. Yes. Okay. Can I face this upwards? That'd be nicer. Like that. Yep. Hope this works. Guess we'll see. Okay. So that's hooked up. So we definitely know the UV electric motor requires data. Request that. So if that works, then this whole thing is working okay. Okay, that looks good. And what that means is I should be able to put this in here now. Yes. Oh, excellent. Okay. That's so weird. So the data access hatch, if it's in an assembly line, doesn't let you put data modules in. But if it's within a data bank, it does. Cool. Let's request a UV energy hatch. Wait a second. Oh, did I not encode the recipe? Okay, maybe I didn't. That is everything. Encode that. Take the data module out. Pop this into here. And now we should be able to request a UV energy hatch. So it's making one of the circuits. Oh, that might be it. Oh, yes. It's done. UV energy hatch. All right. Tick that off. What's involved in making a UV 4 amp hatch? Oh, yeah, that's easy enough. And what about the 16 amp? I'm guessing it's going to require neutronium. Yep, neutronium. Well, this opens up a lot because now we can upgrade the research station to be UV. We won't use it for a lot of other machines because we already have the ZPM 16 amp hatches, which are actually better than this already. So it won't change any of those things, except for allowing this machine here to be able to research the other thing, because this currently is only ZPM. So that means the next thing, which we'll do in the next episode, will be to research the fusion reactor. So that requires 96 compute units. So I'll add a couple more of those guys. Excellent. Oh, I'm done with this episode. It's been a journey, and I'm getting tired, and it's time to quit. I was not expecting at the 11th hour to have to build a whole new multi-block that I wasn't prepared for. Luckily, it was a small one and didn't take too much. I just couldn't leave it. I needed to get that energy hatch. I didn't want to leave you guys in the lurch, and also for my own closure, I just needed to finish that off. Behind the scenes, I've been working on that network switch for quite a long time. Been about 2 or 3 weeks of planning to move towards that. Lots of different parts of the base needed to be upgraded. And anyway, so next episode's pretty exciting. We're going to move on to the Fusion Reactor Mark III and unlocking neutronium. That's an end game material. There's so many things that I have not been able to build or look into because of the presence of neutronium, but that is no longer going to be the case. Thanks for watching. Really appreciate the support that these videos get. Quite enjoy interacting with you all, so leave a comment if you got any questions, and I'll see you in the next episode. Cheers.